So this video is going to go over harder ratio problems that seem to be quite popular in the new GCSE exam, so it's worth going through these. It's probably something you might have touched on this in year 8, but to be honest, at the time when you were in year 8, there hadn't been many of the new GCSE papers, so we weren't quite so used to what kind of questions come up. So now we've seen a lot more papers, we know that these kind of questions are really popular, so therefore I think it's probably worth going over again, because it's very likely that you wouldn't have done questions like this in year 8. So the first one, we've got the ratio of small to medium plates is 2 to 5, so that's S to M. And then the next ratio is different, isn't it? It's medium to large plates. So if we put here M to L. So the first thing that you want to try and do is a little bit like simultaneous equations. You can see that we've got medium plates in both ratios. So you want to try and make those medium plates the same. So for this one, you times it by the opposite number. So if we've got 5 here, we're going to times it by 3, and we're going to times that whole ratio in a minute by 3. And this one, if we've got the 3 here, we're going to times it by the 5, and that's going to make both of those 15. But like I say, you need to make sure you times the whole ratio. So if we times this ratio here by 3, I would get 6 to 15, and that was small to medium. And then I'm going to times this ratio by 5, so that's going to get 15 to 20, and that is medium to large, like that. So you can see I've got mediums in both ratios. So if I want to now write the ratio of small to medium to large, now that they're the same, I can compare these ratios. So I know that the small would be 6, the medium is 15, and then the large must be 20. And that is your answer for that question. So question 2, and I've tried to make these really similar to your questions as well, so I would use these to help you with answering your questions. So this one, we've got the ratio of apple trees to pear trees, so A to P is 3 to 7, and then the ratio of pear trees to peach, oh that's annoying, is 2 P's, so I'll have to write pear for that one. Pear trees to peach trees, so pear and peach, I can't even write PEA or anything like that because they both have to start with PEA, that's really annoying. So those are your two ratios, so it's the pairs that appear in both. So I'm going to times this one by the 3, this one by the 7. So top ratio becomes 9 to 21, and that is apples to pears. Next one is times it by 7, so it's going to be 21 to 28. I don't know if you can hear that fly that's buzzing around, it's really irritating. Pear to peach. And before we even get on to that, I would do the same thing as we did up there. So writing down the final ratio, so apples to pears to peach. So that is 9 to 21 to 28. So when you look at the next bit of information, which is 2,320 trees in total, you've got to decide where are we going to put that 2,320. Is it talking about the number of apples? Is it talking about the number of pears? Nope. Is it talking about the number of peaches? Nope. It's talking about the total number of trees. So the first thing we're going to have to do is work out, well, what's the total of these? So 9 plus 21 is 30, plus 28 is 58. And so now I know I've got a total, I'm going to put the 2,320 underneath that total. And with ratios, you've always got to work out what you're timesing by and do exactly the same to the others, depending on what you're trying to find. So to work out what I'm timesing by, I can do 2,320 divided by 58, and that gives me 40. So if I want to work out how many apple trees there are, I'm just going to start with the 9 and do exactly the same. I'm going to times that by 40 as well. So 9 times 40 is 360. So there must be 360 apple trees. So if I wanted to know, for example, the peach, I would do the same thing, just times that by the 40. So once you've got your multiplier, you just do the same thing to whichever one you're trying to find. So final question is just a little bit different, just because on this one we don't need the total. So if we finish this off, you'll see what I mean. So we've got Alan to Bobby, we've got Bobby to Chris. So these are appearing in both ratios. So I'm going to times this one by the 5, this one by the 8. So times all that by 5, I get 35 to 40. I've just realised that should be 70 there before I carry on. So that is Alan to Bobby. And then the next one, the ratio of Bobby's to Chris's age, we're going to times that by 8. So that's going to be 40 to 32. So it's these ones that are made the same. So again, let's ignore that for a minute. Let's just go for the ratio. So A is 35, B is 40, and C is 32. So this time, we're told that Alan is 70. So it's not the total of the ages. We don't need to work out a total. It's Alan that is 70. So that is going to go under Alan's column because it's to do with Alan. And then we're just going to work out what we are timesing by, which is 2. That's nice and easy. But remember, if it's a more complicated one, just do that divided by that, and that will tell you what you're timesing by. So how old is Chris? Well, because that was being times by 2, we need to times Chris by 2 as well. So 32 times 2 is 64. So Chris is 64 years old. Poor old Bobby, look, he'd be 80, wouldn't he? Right, that's the end of it. Have a go at the questions, see how you get on.